Hey, we've got our first one on. Hello, Matt. How are you? Make sure you can hear me okay. Hey, film score analysis. What's up, Sickened? How are you? Let me check and make sure my microphone is miking. How is our volume? I'm going to speak a little bit. I'm going to play a little bit from my hacked together template. Okay. Everybody can hear that okay? And then also, if I do this, we're doing a couple quick tests. We'll start in a couple of minutes. I'm just going to grab an album with some large stuff in it. Combat Drop, or Bishop's Countdown. Volume is good there. I think the levels are pretty good. I'm not spiking anybody, and hair of the dog. All right, let me get my notebook out, notepad. Okay, how's everybody doing today? Good? Everyone's rocking and rolling. Look at this. I've got a quick and dirty template I put together. It's not very well put together yet. I still haven't balanced it. Well, I have, but I still haven't put on. I'm going to be doing a little bit of mixing with it as I kind of prepare it. But it seems to be doing okay for right now. Yeah, levels good. You know, mostly I want it to be consistent levels. Like my voice is not so much heavier than the music or things like that. And I've got a little monitor that I'm looking at over here, which is helping out. So that's good. And I'm actually going to do that right now. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm looking at my two monitors. I'm just making sure I have everything. My mic is checked out. And I need to be able to see my chat window. I'm satisfied. Okay, great. And how many people do I have? How do I find out how many people I have on my chat? Oh, 6 people watching. Got it. Oh, Katie's Corner is in the house. Little Katie's here. All right. We'll why don't we start in about a minute or so? It's 3:23. This became more of a 3:30 Farkle Friday, but whatever. This is put together very quickly. And hello, Patrick. Hello. Matt says hi to you, Katie. So I try to do my noise reduction. I've got the air conditioner going, but you guys aren't hearing it, are you? Hello, Pigiana OS. Hello. Welcome to Farkle Fridays. This one is going to be good, but it's going to be a little shorter and a little lighter because I actually have to be out the door at about 5 o'clock. But you know, it's still an hour and 20 minutes. It's plenty of time. Plenty of time to pick the Farkle's brain. No doubt. Are we going to see Xavier today? Hey, somebody on one of the social networks, ping Xavier, see if he's up for coming in. And this one, we're going to talk about Ostinatos in a sec. Yeah, there's always going to be a little bit. I have the RX denoiser going on, and it's pretty good, but you know, I'm in the attic. It's like a heat box here, and you know, yeah, pretty much, you know. And last question, is my video still at 1080p? Is it still HD wide? Okay. I'll just check for that, and then we're going to get jumping in. I have no idea what I'm playing. I just grabbed some patches popped up. Okay. Just having fun with... I've got some tricks up my sleeve. I'm also going to show a couple of little tricks that I did from when we jump into my template. I have some custom patches that I built that I'll show you guys. You guys can get a little peek behind the peek under the hood. Okay, well let's jump in. Let's start by what I traditionally do. Is I kind of have a little text. And we define some stuff, and we talk a little bit about it, and we listen to it, and then we talk about it, how you can think about it, and how you can use it as your own composing things. And what was pinged out, like Todd and Matt were like, we should do ostinatos. So when people think of ostinatos, they oftentimes think of the classic, you know, it's called the Zimmer ostinato, you know. Right? Right, that's basically a hybrid of like Jack Sparrow and Batman, you know, kind of thing. And so, oh, Sean, what's up? Are you in LA now, Sean? Are you West Coast? Oh my God, Sean is one of my old students. He's a great composer, did a lot of video game stuff, and he's out in LA seeking fame and fortune. Anyways, we talked about that, but what I think people have trouble with is that people don't understand how flexible an ostinato is, and also don't understand how an ostinato can be used, because sometimes the ostinato can be the main thing, sometimes it can be a bed under which you do other things. So I'm going to jump in. This is actually going to be a bit of a shorter lesson, but yeah, it's fine. It'll be fun. And by the way, I'm drinking, oh God, I have been spending a lot of money on high-end scotch and high-end bourbon. So right now I'm drinking Evan Williams, because if I'm mixing with, you know, not very good scotch or not very good bourbon. So this is also a bit of the hair of the dog. I'm just going to, warts and all with the Farkle Friday. I was out last night with two of my friends, actually four of my friends, after choir rehearsal when we went through about a half bottle of Macallan 10, Macallan 12. We went through about a half bottle of Macallan, and they left at about 11:45. So I'm feeling it a little bit. I've got a little bit of sniffles. I apologize. I have a little summer cold. So this is like open book. I came back from vacation. I have a summer cold. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. It is what it is. Okay. Let's jump in. First thing is first. When people think about ostinatos, there's actually a couple of variations of that. So we really need to think about definition and define what it is. So first of all, ostinato comes from the Italian word for stubborn. And if you look at a derivation of that word, the English word is obstinate. It comes from obstinate. Now what that means is that an ostinato is a musical figure that can resist chords being mapped against it. So I can do a figure in the piano where it's like, right? It works. You see, I'm basically playing chords over it. The whole point of an ostinato is that it resists the tonality shifts. And so it's a very powerful tool. And that's one thing that you want to think of, is that because the ostinato is repeated again and again, you can actually make it fairly complex. You can use fairly complex chords. You can fairly complex scales. You know, a lot of people are like, I'm afraid to use an ostinato because it's going to sound gritty or whatever. Well, if you prepare it properly and you set it up properly, you actually can get away with a lot of like... And if you ever listen to like a lot of the Final Fantasy battle music by Nobuo Uematsu and some other guys, they'll do that a lot in the battle music. They'll have this really gnarly, chromatic-y ostinato, and then it's like, you know, that kind of stuff. Right, you're already hearing that, right? You're already like hearing that kind of thing. So let's talk about there's actually a couple different ways to think about ostinatos. There's a couple of terms you got to use. Pedal or pedal point. And that's one note or set of notes, meaning chords, intervals. That don't change. Oh, Kate has to do the dishes. She already did the dishes. That don't change. And other musical elements. Composer, why are we not seeing your keyboard as in previous streams? Oh, the reason why is because I have my template up. And this template, I don't think will allow me to, hold on a sec. It won't allow me to like do what I did before. I can do this. And that kind of helps. Maybe this helps a little bit. I'll get to my piano, okay? At least you can see stuff here. Better than nothing, but the outputs. But I know what you're saying. I can't get it down. I can't figure out how to get it down there because this is a window inside an application. So it's kind of like a little tough. I'm still trying to figure that out. But everyone was saying how they wanted to see a template. Maybe I'll switch back. Hold on a sec. Maybe as I do this, maybe I'll close my template out and we'll switch back into it. We'll see. Give me a sec to kind of flow here. Like I said, this is a little bit thrown together a little quicker than some of the other Farkle Fridays. Okay. But I will try to get my keyboard out so you guys can see what I'm doing. And I'll probably go into Sibelius. Where is my notepad? There you are. So a pedal point is a note or a set of notes that don't change, and other musical elements move around it. Ostinato is a figure which has not incorporating more than one note that doesn't change, and other musical elements move around it. All right, so what do I mean by that? I'm going to let everyone take a look here and see this whole thing. And also save it, because why not? Farkle Friday, Ostinato. We're going to listen to some great music too, which is good. So the pedal point, it actually comes from like pipe organs. And what they would do is you would hold this note down on your pedal. They had these foot pedals that were super low bass notes. And then over it, they would do their like, that kind of thing, right? And you can kind of hear that. It's like the old Bach thing, right? And what that's doing is that basically is just pedaling or anchoring the tonality. Okay? Yeah, I moved that over because I realized I was like blocking it. So, okay. So, if you'll notice, the big thing about pedal point, and Bruce Lee has this great quote about like, don't fuss too much about the names, because actually in EIS we refer to things differently. An ostinato in EIS is not the same as an ostinato in classical music. And there's something in EIS we use called the ground motive, and ground motive in classical music is interchanged with an ostinato, and in EIS they're very different things. And don't fuss about the name. Just think about what the point is. If you're only using one note, okay, and it's not moving around in a key area, it's holding it down, that's a pedal point. Okay, now, here's the first thing to think about. Pedal points, here's what people don't really understand, or people sometimes forget, and it's a really important thing. They'll do a pedal point, they'll be like this. I'm gonna do a pedal point, and when you do a pedal point, that structure, wherever it is, and the pedal point can be low, or it can be high. It can be one note, it can be two notes, it can be three notes. Okay. Any of those, and I'm just checking to make sure I've got the talks. Once they're stated and they're established and they hover, they kind of fade into the background. They become the other thing, meaning you can move stuff around in a different register and it won't feel weird. Ordinarily, minor ninths wouldn't work, but if one of them's a pedal point, I mean, it's gritty, it's dissonant, but it totally works. Whereas if I voice led into that, if I went like this, can you hear how grindy that is? I went from an A minor in both hands to an E minor in the left hand and an F minor in the right. But if I prepare this, see, it works because this pedal point becomes the other thing. It goes in the background. So the first thing is that, which is becomes the other thing, fades into the background. Now what does that mean? Here's the first thing that people forget to do with pedal points. One, you can use more than one note as a pedal point. You saw what I did there. I didn't have the E, I had the E, the B, and the G, a triple pedal point. Right? That's a pretty good old role-playing game sound right there. Okay? So feel free to use intervals or chords. Many of the time, some of John Williams' cooler structures, people are like, oh, it's all polytonal. I'm like, no, what it is it's a double or a triple pedal point. He's down here doing something like this. A sixth, and then over it he's got, right? And what's happening is that pedal point becomes the other thing. The second thing is this. Pedal points can be low, medium, or high register. Something else that people forget. So you could do things like have high strings going like this. Just hold that. We got a triple pedal. Well, actually, I'll do two. I'll do two. A fifth. right? And they're holding this high silky sound. And that is holding it up there. That's a pedal point, but it's up high, okay? And I'm actually, for the first time, I'm actually gonna do some quick examples of that before we go and listen to some stuff. So let me do what I just did there. Let me do, we'll just do a quick little hack together one, okay? Yeah, I know, this is they're done. So here's, I'll just do an example here. Here's my brass low. How's the volume there, pretty good? Okay. Oh wait, I forgot I gotta do one thing here. I gotta turn off the click, which is here. And now this will work, yeah. I can't use F3. F3, I'm an idiot. F3 mutes my mic, but then it activates the click. Ugh. All right, here we go. So let's say I'm doing a pedal point here. Can everyone hear that okay? Okay, that's just a little thing, right? Now, over that triple pedal point, I'm going to move that out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to play some chords, and you'll see how they completely don't have to fit inside the pedal point, the E minor triad that I did. Okay, that's a little bit funky, but you get the point. Not the best thing. Yeah, this is very much, this is something I picked up from some Chris Young scores. Species and Hellraiser were the two that I've looked at and transcribed some, not looked at. And then Goldsmith, yeah. And again, I'm like kind of hacking it together. You got to still use your taste, you know? But what I'm saying is I'm immediately saying to myself, I'm not limited to being in a key or a scale. Let's do the reverse of that, okay? Actually, no, I'll save this stuff, warts and all. Let's do the reverse. Let's go over here. And let me open up my strings. I don't like, this is why I don't like key switches. I can't stand them. But I had threw this together very, very quickly. We'll do a concertinos. And I'll do that D, I'll do a double pedal point up high. So this is just going to be a G and a D. Okay? And you know what we do? Because now, give me a sec here. You can hear how dry everything is. I haven't added my reverb yet. Okay, that's just the natural reverb of Albion. Just adding, there we go, just adding some reverb. Cool. I'm just gonna hold this for a bit. Again, just messing around. Yeah, Matt, you got it right. Species. I was listening to Species and a little bit of Hellraiser. Good ear, Matt. Okay. Now, what chords can I use with this? I was trying to think of what colors I can use. Can I do harp with this? Oh, it's very dry. Super dry. Let's really pour on the Thomas Newman. This is like what Williams would do. Ready? I'm hinting now at the Imperial theme. Ready? Let's see how the mix is. Let me just get the mix right. It's pretty close. I'm just doing it kind of a level balancing. I'm over my other monitor. I've got the mixing board. You can see that. Oh yeah, I was thinking about doing a horn. Let me try the harp first. We do creepy harp, then I'll do cool horn. Okay. That's a little bit better, actually. See, so now the chords that I'm playing here, I'm just going to rattle off the chords that I'm playing. All right, and it's basically just arpeggiated chords with a couple of little. That's a G minor, and I'm adding an A, and I'm adding an E flat. That's an E flat minor. There's the Imperial March. All right, now moving up a half step to a G sharp minor. So that's kind of cool, right? And like Matt said, let's just do that. Let's just do some sort of noble horn thing. See how Albion's mid brass is. Albion is impressive for sketching. Albion and Symphobia, it's pretty. Oh, I'm an adult. I didn't put my legato in. Whatever. I'm not going to touch that yet. Okay. Here we go. Let me think what I'm going to do here. All right, we'll do more of a goldsmithy thing. It's not a bad goldsmith fake right there. Let's take a listen. So there's your Star Trek. There's your insurrection right there. It would sound better if I was actually using the legato patch. If I actually cared enough to. That's something the goldsmith would do, right? That little grit of tension right there. But how's the volume on those? Is it loud enough that you guys can hear stuff? I know it's a little quiet because I'm playing everything in the mezzo piano to piano range. I'm going to wait and see if it fills up, if anybody has anything to say. Yes and no. Do we like this? So there's an example of what I'm talking about. If you'll notice, both times I did the pedal point as more than one note. And one time I did it down low, one time I did it up high. You can do it in the middle. You can sit there in the middle and you can have the pedal point be here, and then you can do a flute melody under it. You see? So that's the point of a pedal point, though, is that once you hit it, it kind of stays there for a while. Now, here's the second thing. Pedal points don't have to be held notes. I mean, really, functionally, there's no difference between this and this. These are both still pedal points. They're anchoring things. So one thing to remember when you're doing pedal points is that in addition to the fact that you can go low or you can go high, and you can use more than one note, 3, you can add rhythm to it. Now let's have some fun with some great examples of this. This is just pedal points. So I mean, this is really, there we go. Now let's see what happens when somebody like, oh, I don't know, John Williams does something with that. What we might hear is something like this. Sound familiar? Not that. Okay, so what's that? That's literally taking boom, boom. Okay. So he's just holding on a C. I think it's a C. My ears a little. I'm a little. Ears are a little rusty today. Yes, lost in Windows Media Player. Still the best thing Windows has for me organizing all my stuff. Oh no, sorry. Can't believe I didn't catch that. Okay. Before I jump into this, I'm gonna jump into this and then I'll listen to what people were saying. So in this case, let me bring back the piano. Okay. Everyone can see the C pedal right there, right? So what John Williams has done is he's taken this pedal note, which is an octave, and he's added rhythm to it. Bum, bum. Now, because of that, anything he puts over it doesn't sound weird against it. It just sounds like color. So he does something where he does triads in the muted French horns. These are just triads moving throughout changes. E major triad to D flat, E major triad to D flat, G, G flat, G, dun, dun. Okay? And by the way, notice, he's hitting a minor ninth, but we don't hear it because we hear it. Right? So just that simple action of taking a pedal point, adding rhythm to it to create a propulsion, and then taking chords and structures and not really worrying about whether it's in a key gives you a lot of power. Of course, you can stay in a key. You can go. Actually, I'll do a simple one. I'll do one with 4. And I'm in the key of C, and I'll just do stuff in C minor. All right. Right there, I just did 4 or 5 chords that are in the key of C minor. I did E flat major, G minor, F minor, B flat major, C minor. Those are all in like kind of a, those are in a C minor, C Aeolian mode. Okay, so you can get as out or as not out as you want. You can sit all day. You could do the James Horner thing and do just tritones. Okay, just do C to F sharp, T to F sharp. But these are some of the ways that you can do a pedal point. Now, before I move on, I'm going to do a quick check with the chat channel. Are there any other pedal points examples you want to, as long as we're having a listening party, any other pedal point that people want to show? I actually have more ostinato examples than pedal point. The famous one I think of is that one. I mean, that's, pretty epic when that kicks in. Let me look over here. Preparing for battle from Sequest. Oh yeah, and you know what? There's one in Aliens as well, where Ripley's suiting up for battle. It's also pretty good. But let's do the Sequest one. Here's another example. Sequest. Because God knows I got that album. I don't know why, but preparing for battle. Here we go. Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. B flat. Yeah, this is classic. This is John Debney, and later on, Don Davis. Oh yeah, this is a great choice, Matt. By the way, we've been on a B flat pedal point for like 30 seconds already. Still not boring. Yeah, and you know what? It's one of the tracks in Starship Troopers by Basil Polidorius. I think it's Asteroid Grazing. Is another example of that. So, but we can hear. Right, he's basically doing this. Because you got to do that little woodwind thing. So that's a great example of one. Excuse me. You can see that these kind of pedal points, these rhythmic pedal points, tend to lend themselves to military and military prep stuff. That's a good little thing to keep. They also lend themselves, oh, and I'm an adult. I gotta dig up, hold on, let me go dig up a freaking timpani patch. Where am I gonna put it? I'll put it with the piano, I don't care. They also lend themselves well to kind of dark funeral macabre stuff. Give me a sec here. Let me find my timpani patch. I'm just gonna load this. I knew I forgot something. I'm like, oh right, timpani. All right, here we go. Here's my timpani. And it's going to the Albion woodwinds. Sure, why not? That's not bad because the woodwinds are fairly close to. All right, give me a second. We'll make a new MIDI track, and I'll call this CS Timp, and it'll be awesome. I'll make it orange because timpanis are orange. Or no red. I'll make it red because, because drums are red. That's why you do it. Sorry about this. I told you, like I literally was building this thing at like 1 o'clock because I'm not really developing my template until I'm done with this film that I'm working on. Okay, I need to go to this, and I need to go to which channel is this? Sorry about this. I'm just kind of channel 8. Nice and loud. I know. Well, this is my loss, and I haven't done my template yet. This is like a quick one I hacked together. Let me see here. It's way too loud. Give me a sec to quickly balance this. Here, you can see how I balance my stuff in my template now. All right, so. All right. I know my other stuff before was coming in at like minus 16. It's way too loud. Let me bring it down like 15 decibels. So a little too far away. Now it needs to have a little bit more punch. That's pretty good. Oh, I gotta add some verb. There you go, just some clarity there. That'll work. Sorry about that, folks. But again, it's like if people are harping on me to be like, we want to know about your template and how do you do stuff, and I'm like, well, this is how I do it. And this is very basic. I'm doing volume balancing inside of Contact. It's pretty good. Oh my God, I really love the Cinesamples timpani. Really love it. Might be a shade loud, actually. Let me just match it against the brass. Yeah, it's a shade loud. Darn it! I always do that. I make my drums too loud because I really want that. That's fortissimo. I'll cheat a little bit. I'll give it. Blakis would kill me. He's like, you're not using your ears. You're using what you want to do. I'm like, no, I know, but I want this timpani to hit. No dampening, whatever. If I'm gonna play a timpani, it's gonna ring out. None of this quick dampening junk. Just, you know what, Lawson? Quick tip: if you want to do it with dampening, you know what you do. Here's what you do. Here's what you do. You go into timpani, you open it up. You go to all of the groups, right? You highlight them all. And you go down to the envelope and you reduce the release. And then when you reduce the release, well, I'm messing it up, but hold on. Now I gotta close this because you basically get rid of the release tails, and you add, what was that, like minus 14 or something like that. Yeah, you change the release samples. Yeah, you do that. You basically get rid of the release tails and you change the release samples, and then it becomes. You got to play with it. It takes about 20 minutes, but then it's done. But I don't need that timpani for nothing. If I'm playing that timpani's sounding. All right. So what I was getting at was one of the things you can do. That gloriously red timpani, huh? So red. is you can do a rhythmic pedal point like this. This is actually very cool. Let's just stay in G. For some reason, I'm in a G minor kind of mood. Right? And that basically is like a funeral drum. So it's really, really dark. And if you double that with like this. Okay, here we go. Oh, stupid overwriting on this for no good reason. If you do that, and my sim strings are a little too loud, I bring them down. Oh, and I put on the verb. Sim does not need a lot of verb, it's pretty wet. I'll bring you down about, I'll bring you up a lot, so I'll bring you down a little bit. Wow, that sounds pretty cool. Once you go back and leave it for a while and come back, it's a pretty good little... Right? That's a pretty cool sound there. And then if maybe I take my horns, we're in G minor. This is going to be something more like you would hear Kirkland do, Grant Kirkhope do in Kingdoms of Amalur. Fantastic game, by the way. So I get something like this. That would be something you would hear in like one of those, you know, blasted land kind of things. Well, I'll play the few lost and I'll play the thing. So, by the way, what are we learning here is that you can really, I'll play the free Lawson right now. You can really gain a lot of mileage out of a rhythmic pedal point, you know? All right, so yeah, let me do one. Lawson, what I did was I did a high string GD fifth thing, and then I did a harp creepy thing, and then I did a horn thing. So this is it with the harp creepy thing. What Williams would do with like the Imperial March. Ready? This would be like when Palpatine is like, "Let me tell you what the dark side holds." And Anakin's like, "I think the dark side's cool." So that's that. But you can also then take the same thing, just that open fifth. Dude, open fifths are super awesome. There you go. Versatile. Pedal points, right? They're pretty, I'm telling you. And you know what? There's a reason why in every single film scoring book I've read, and I've pretty much read them all. Not that I'm so great. It's just that I'm old and I have no, life. They all pretty much talk about the value of pedal points and ostinatos and of rhythmic things. They tend to lump pedal points and ostinatos together. And I'm being a little bit of, a little bit like specific with the terminology because we're going to get into ostinatos next. But I wanted to show you just how much power you could get if you take a simple 1, 2, or 3 note structure and make that a pedal point either with or without rhythm. You've got a bed and you can suck up 45 seconds real easy. As a matter of fact, I should remember this because I'm in the middle of like trying to crank through a bunch of cues for my film, and I should just grab some of these. I'm saving all this stuff, man. This stuff's good. This stuff's gold, baby. Speed of which, let me make sure that this stuff is syncing up. Ah, yes, it is. Cool. The first one's kind of, that was a spot on Anakin. Oh, thanks, Lawson. It was close. Yeah, I mean, like enough that I got the flavor of it, you know? Okay. So, does anybody want to show off any other cool rhythmic pedal points? Or if not, we're going to move on to ostinato, which is going to be Goldsmith and Silvestri's fantastic. I'm going to wait and let people blast in. Anything? Ooh. Yep, happy hour. People are coming in. I'm actually really liking the way this is starting to balance out. You'll notice, by the way, when I balance my template, I'm doing it very primitively right now, but basically what I have is I internally balance my winds and things like that, my instruments internally in here. You'll notice I'm dropping like the things back, the harp and the timpani. And then I try to do it so each stem is kind of balanced internally among itself. And then, you know, ordinarily this mixing and stuff would have happened as I've tested a bunch of mock-ups. But right now I'm kind of trying to figure it out as I do cues. And you're just testing for volume balance. So in this case, the strings are pretty good. This is also cool. Nobody does this. Everyone who comes in and wants to learn orchestration, everything go right to loud. You got to do soft, man. Soft is like these brass patches that I have, these trombones in their soft register. Everyone wants that quaver brassy. Okay, you can do that. But man, if you save it, so, anyways, I'm kind of rambling today. So that's a little bit of a rambly thing. All right, so there, pedal points. How you do that? Ostinatos. Ostinatos also become the other thing. Often, they start as the main thing. This is the trick to ostinatos. When you want to get an ostinato going, pretty much the sky's the limit. Ostinatos can be 2 notes. A lot of times you'll see like the 1 and the 5. So the ostinato might be like something like that, right? Can be using parts of scale, chord. Oh yeah, dude, that's it, Lawson. Actually, I'm going to quickly. There we go. These are the ones, the examples we're going to look at. So they can be 2 notes, or short, perfectly good ostinato. They can be using parts of a scale. Right? That's just a C minor triad being bounced around. Yeah, Jurassic Park, I know of it. I'm not as familiar with that one. Or they can just be intervals and shapes. I could do an ostinato that is a major third, then a half step down, and then a whole step down, and then a tritone. So it could be. See what I'm saying about like, sorry, I got distracted here. Lawson's on a tear right now. Of course, every single remote control score ever, but we're talking about good ostinatos. Well, here's the thing with ostinatos. And this is what people don't understand. They get scared that if I do an ostinato that's in a scale, I can't use any notes outside that scale. And we've already learned with pedal points, you can do that. If you establish the ostinato, you know, you can see how just that, and I'm actually using a pretty adventurous, shape there. I'm doing like pop chords there, and it totally works. Don't allow your fear of being outside the key. The whole point of an ostinato is that it can stubbornly still drive into your subconscious, okay? So let's start with, let's have some fun with this, okay? Jaws is a great example, okay? Jaws is, open this up real fast. We'll get back to the piano here, okay? The grandeur is a surprisingly good piano, by the way. So Jaws, you know, it's just a half step. Right, it's that kind of repetitive thing. And there's a little bit of accents, but basically it's those two notes, and I think there's like a half step thing that it does. Once it's established itself, the next chord, right? And that's basically what it is. I know the first two notes are that, is not even in the key. It's actually Williams borrowed that idea from Rite of Spring, because Rite of Spring is an E triad, and then over it is an E flat triad. And if you look, he's got the E down here and the E flat triad up there. So I'm not saying he like lifted wholesale, but he got the idea harmonically because it's too close for a coincidence. So once Williams established this, you can do anything you want over it. And this is if you think about it, a very non-tonal piece. That half step doesn't really tell you what key you're in. And then over it, something in a completely different key, but it works. It works so well that we have to listen to it. Let's listen to it. Interesting thing about Jaws that Sicken pointed out to me on his film score analysis, which is you never hear the Jaws music during all the false alarms on the beach. Whenever there's a false alarm, it's, oh, you hear a scream. You never hear the Jaws music. And only when the actual shark comes does Williams holds off. And then all of a sudden you hear the, and then you're like, the audience is cued in. You're like, this point of view, this camera moment, this is the shark now attacking. Because Williams is brilliant. Incidentally, all right, let me get this here. Notice, by the way, Williams establishes the ostinato. He gives it by itself, open, let it be its statement. And of course, he winds it up like a shark winding up. I knew there was chordal harmony in there. And all he's doing now is just orchestrally stacking octaves, you know? So much Rite of Spring in that, so much Rite of Spring. You guys all should. Oh my God, Lawson, you're right. In the Dance of the Augurs, where he's going in Stravinsky's Rite of Spring, those woodwind riffs are directly in Jaws, ripped out from that. All right, all of you need to go. If you like Jaws, you need to go listen to Rite of Spring, because that's it right there. So see how simple that is? We're going to do a couple examples, and I'm going to kind of fake one. We'll talk about how you can kind of develop a pedal point. So by the way, notice, you can build up to a minute's worth of music with just a pedal, an ostinato, some things over the ostinato which have some shapes and ideas, and then maybe enhancing it with vertical stacking and volume. You know, like you can go like, right? Like all I'm doing right there is like little brass stabby type things. Let's see if I can find the one that I love, which is battle music from Final Fantasy. I'm pretty sure it's Final Fantasy VII. Is it? No. Here it is. Ready? This is, again, not even in a scale. It's just like, it's like. Something like that. It's some kind of just like pattern. But when you repeat the pattern and drive it over and over and stubbornly hit it. Oh God, Lawson, Final Fantasy scores are like, I grew up on those things. I think they're amazing. Just so beautiful, just so great. Here we go. Now, once it's been established, you can put anything you want over the top. Chordal chords, sus chords. Doesn't matter. Doesn't feel weird against it. Under it, you can hear the ostinatos continuing unabated. So that right there, you know, boom. He's just doing this little scrambly thing and repeating it over and over again. Very video game, right? Because it's like tracker stuff. You kind of copy and paste it. But once you establish that, you can play anything you want over it. And that's a really powerful thing. The trick is to be patient. To first establish your ostinato, let it happen a little bit, give it the 4 bars, give it the 8 bars, then start to add things, okay? Now, let's do a couple things here. Let's sit and talk about what instruments you can use in an ostinato. And then we're going to get into, I'll do some instruments that Goldsmith and Silvestri likes to use, okay? And then I'll show you some ones that I'm using on the film that I'm doing, although it's in Sibelius format, so that is what it is. I don't like using strings for ostinatos. Well, I like using strings for ostinatos when they're not trying to replace another instrument. I don't like using that kind of stuff because that to me is taking the strength away from the strings, which is its suppleness and its ability to kind of weave in and out of stuff. My ostinatos tend to be those kind of things. It's because of my video game thing. For that, I think the pianos in octaves sound phenomenal, okay? And I also picked this up from Jerry Goldsmith and from Alan Silvestri. They use pianos all the time. So they'll write an ostinato and it'll be like in the pianos and the strings and the brass will accent parts of it. So their ostinato might be like, yeah. Also, Uematsu would do this. And then maybe it would be, you see how that kind of works? Actually, matter of fact, I'll do it right now. Okay? And then I'm going to show you a trick that I did. First, I'm going to do it with the melodic piano. So, do a little bit slow. So it's going to be, whoops. I must have accidentally had the, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stab it with the brass. I'm going to use Sim for this. Ready? Oh, I need to copy that thing again. Yeah. Will this work? Let's see. Make it in 7/8. You're good. Yeah. Yeah. This isn't Uematsu because I was into Final Fantasy, but if I did this in 7/8, it's Goldsmith. Let me try it. Let me figure out what some stacks would be that he would do. He would do dissonant stacks. He would do this. That's a Horner stack. Horner would do a dissonant cluster like that. That's cool. Or Chris Young would too. I'll do a big nasty stack. Yep, that's too much. I'm gonna make it more tonal. Dun-dun-dun. There it is. Ghost would be. He would just be a triad. So there's that. And you know what? Let me just. Hold on. If you really want to do it right. There. There's the Goldsmith stack. I'm kind of hacking it a little bit. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's Symphobia brass down low and Cinnabrass up top. But remember, Lawson, I opened them up and carved them up. I made them more playable and performable. So, Symphobia brass is still one of my favorite for these kind of sketches. Okay, so notice what drove the ostinato was this piano. Hold on a sec. Look, there's no verb on this thing. Let me. It's so dry. But way too much brass. I'll show you what I'm doing. Sorry, you guys can see what I'm doing here. That's pretty good. That'll get you somewhere. It's not bad. That'll work. Right. So that's one way that you can do an ostinato. I took a pattern, but notice the reason it works is because I start up by establishing the ostinato. These are not, this is not a shameless ripoff of Jerry Goldsmith, because A, he does it better than I do it, and B, I'm doing my own kind of take on it, you know? Let's double that with strings, because why not? Because that would be something else you get. Whoops, a little sloppy here. You know what? I'm going to do Symphobia for that. It's a little bit too close. Let me go back to Albion and let me open up the strings and sorry, I just need to change it to staccato. That's pretty good. Cool. Here we go. There it is. So there's an example of what? There's an example of a little ostinato. It's pretty cool. Piano players love that stuff. Come on, that sounds cool. You could double that with the strings. As a matter of fact, let me mute this and we'll do that. I'll do it here. That sounds a little bit too close. Let me just quickly... It's amazing how much I have to dip it down. All right, that's pretty good. I like a little louder, but I've got to be disciplined about making sure it's in the back there. So you could double the strings with the piano, right? So there it is. I flubbed it at the end, but... Then, of course, you want to really add to it. Let's add the timpani. This is a pretty formulaic Goldsmith thing. That's pretty cool. Now, here's my little sneaky trick. I like to have multiple pianos. This piano is supposed to be I love the grandeur, it's my melodic piano. But I picked up the freebie Jerry's pianos. It's all trashy and gritty. It sounds great. So watch this. It's basically a Goldsmith piano. It's all gritty and gnarly. Okay, now check this out. Here's one of the tricks that I did. I'm proud of this. Yeah, you should have multiple pianos. You shouldn't have one piano do all. See this Synth Predator piano? I went into a Symphobia patch, and they have a layered patch. It's called Orchestra with Piano, and I pulled out the piano patch. So if I want, I can, give me a sec, make sure this is working. I may have to do something. I may have to hack around a little bit. Give me a sec. Okay. Ignore what I'm doing. I'm just basically transposing it. I need to transpose it so that it's the same. Sorry. Again, I built this. Here we go. You can take the Symphobia piano and pull it out. The piano's too loud. Such a good piano. They all have different uses. But then if maybe you layer these two, you have to make it a little quieter. That's pretty groovy, right? A little sneaky thing that I did. Layering pianos works great. Jerry's piano works very well with grandeur. You can layer them very well. Layering, man, layering. Lawson says hi, Katie. Okay? And you also can, in this kind of thing, why am I not? Oh, yeah, over here, sorry. You could do a double stroke. Let me see if I can try and fake that. Give me a sec, all right? Hold on a sec here. I think this might actually work. Let's see if this works here. Ready? I just moved them over and double stroke them. Okay. Yeah, I'll show you what I'm doing. Sorry, it's over here. I just set them up as a double stroke. And then I'm going to take this. And then add that extra octave. Now, by the way, this is so hacked together, right? Because basically, I'm just using a template I put together. Like I would ordinarily have, I would have a specific spiccato patch I'd use and things like that, but whatever. That's pretty cool. There's some really cool stuff you can do there. So that's one way that you can take an ostinato. But you'll notice, again, I keep on saying, why does it work? Why does it work? It works because you start by establishing the ostinato. Notice I did not, with this ostinato, keep it in a scale. I just picked something. I just picked a shape that I thought was pretty cool. You know, that's pretty much what I did. Let me bring this back down. I want it at its own. This, by the way, the Symphobia piano. It's perfect for the Predator soundtrack. So let's look at an example of a much better produced version of what I'm talking about. Speaking of Predator, now let's talk about what scales can you use for ostinatos. It depends on what you want the emotion to be. If you want it to be dark and moody, and you want it to be somewhat like psychological thriller kind of stuff, melodic and harmonic minor, right? That works. If you want it to be uplifting and parental and family and friendly, Lydian mode works, right? Lawson knows this. By the way, that's an ostinato, triple ostinato. If you want action and sci-fi, octatonic. Octatonic is a symmetric scale. It starts on C. It starts on any note you do. Then you go up a half step, up a whole step, up a half step, up a whole step, up a half step, up. Start on any key. Up a half, up a whole, up a half, up a whole, up a half. See what I mean? Okay? Octatonic is great because it gives you, yeah, people say half whole, whole half. They're all variations of it. You know, it's all basically, it's a symmetrical scale. Alan Silvestri uses it all the time. Yeah, and Lawson, I'm not waving you off in a bad way. Lawson's like, well, diminished is whole half and octatonic is half whole. I go back to that Bruce Lee thing about don't make a fuss about names. It's something you use to get your composer juice flowing. I'm a horrible analyst when I analyze what I've written. I'm like, yeah, I use the octatonic there or something. I know what it does. It gives me a set of tools. And I'm not busting on you, Lawson, buddy. It's an awesome. You're absolutely right. Octatonic, diminished. The labels are important. But the thing about octatonic, which is awesome, what people don't realize is the octatonic scale gives you 4 triads in the scale that work with each other. C, E flat, G sharp, A. It gives you chords a minor third apart. So, you now there's trash talking going on. It's Friday and people are imbibing. So what Alan Silvestri will do in Predator is that whole score is the octatonic scale. That's an octatonic figure. So the ostinato is E, E, G, F, E, and then the horns come in with that thing that they do. That right there is just an octatonic scale solo. So you can get a lot of mileage out of that. Let's take a listen. Right? Oh, sorry, that was early. Such a great. There's a severe thunderstorm warning here. I may have to cut this a little short. Yeah, I don't want to blow out my computer. Yeah. So you see how easy that is? Okay. He's just literally taking this figure and over it in octatonic. Okay? You can also do that later on. Later on he goes. Those are notes from the octatonic scale, and he builds a triad over all of them. So you get this like, you'll hear it later on. He takes these moments and he goes bum 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 bum, bum. This is the truck stop. Bum, 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 bum. And then the brass comes in with those 4 chords you're allowed to use in the Octatonics. Right? There it is. Okay? I'm going to listen to that right there. So simple. But once again, you've got to establish the ostinato. Jungle Trek, that's what it is. So much energy in this ostinato. You'll notice that unlike Goldsmith, Silvestri's ostinatos are pretty much the piano stacked with the brass. Goldsmith will have the piano going by itself and have brass come in here and there. Silvestri is... There's a brass with the piano on every single note. Here, actually, I'll do it. I'll fake it right here. Okay, it's a little bit fake, but it's close. Sorry, I want that. I want this. I'm not doing it exactly right, but it's pretty close. So it's going to be... How about I play the right notes? And then... Oh, it's a shame. Well, that's happened. This is going... Okay. Dennis steals the embryo. Okay, yeah, I'll do that. Let me get the Albion brass low. I'm going to have that go here. Sorry, I'm just kind of adjusting stuff. That's pretty good. And then... a little bit better. Okay. I'm going to add that to the... That's the feel of it, basically. There it is right there, right? I mean, it's that simple. So that's basically how you do an ostinato. Oh, I'm starting to run out of time. It's going to be a short Farkle Friday today. That's okay. We had a good time. Let's go look at the Jurassic Park. Do I... Lawson, do I have Jurassic Park?
You should.
Whew. Oh, I must have bought it when it was on sale for like $1. Dennis steals the embryo. What time point in it, Lawson? When you do ostinatos, you oftentimes should be using instruments that have a short decay and have some character, which is why I like the piano. In this case, I think, Lawson, he's doubling this with a synthesizer, isn't he? I think that's a synthesizer doubling the piano and stuff. I know that in First Blood, it is a synth double with a piano. So let's think strategically now about what instruments we use for ostinatos that give us the Williams, Goldsmith, Silvestri effect. Oh good. Hey, Anima Drop, how you doing? Yeah, it's you don't have to go hog wild with I love this, huh? You don't have to go hog wild with micro analyzing the synth. What I mean by that is think of the character that it needs. It needs to have a quick attack, not too much of a large frequency span, and a pretty quick but graceful release, right? Maybe a release of like, I don't know, 250 milliseconds, you know what I mean? Like, bum, you want to go bum, kind of like a harp release. And if you get that, then just hop into FM8 or hop into Zeta 2 or hop into Omnisphere and you'll find something. But you have to go in knowing the character. This is something Anima Drop would talk about, and I agree with him. He's very big on like the character of the synth. He doesn't just load it. He's like, what is its role in the song? What is its role, in the piece? And I think when you go in with that attitude, you'll come out with a happier end result. Yeah, it probably is a Moog. You got to figure Jurassic Park was '94. Analog synths were all over the place. It might, it might very well be. It might be one of the early DCOs, like an Alpha Juno or something like that, or a Juno 106. Those things are great. So, but when you're doing your ostinato, allow the knowledge of what the ostinato is doing, which are these fast little motions, in this case, to dictate the color of your instruments. If I were to do a flute ostinato, I would either, if it was fast and dexterous like that, I would have it be doing flute double tongues and flute staccatos. If it was long and legato, then I'd have to make the ostinato slower. Something else to notice. If the ostinato is fast, the chords over it are often slow. So if your ostinato is like, the chords over it are going to be things like do you see? Because we haven't talked about this yet, but about harmonic rhythm. When one thing's moving fast and quick, you don't want to have another thing moving fast and quick against it. It creates too much turbulence. There's ways to do it. You can do interlocking stuff, but it's the yin-yang principle. If one's going fast, make the other one slow. Conversely, if your pedal point is a slow rhythmic thing, bum, bum, ba-da-da-dum, bum, bum, you can go ba-da-bum, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. You can have the high stuff be busy because it's creating a contrast against each other. Let me take a look. Anima Drop just pinged and said, the synth pluck category in Omnisphere. Exactly. Omnisphere, it's like everything about Omnisphere is amazing. Let me play another example of an ostinato, one of my favorite ostinatos, which I actually transcribed. And actually, maybe I'll boot it up. Let me take a break for a sec. I'll save this, now that I've done all this mangling of ostinatos. And let me find. It's a really cool sound, right? So there's an ostinato. So Goldsmith's ostinatos are so good. So much color in them. Just that little xylophone hit on the third of every one of those. Let's see what I did. I'll show you the transcription of this just so you can all see. Y'all can take a snapshot of this. All right, let's go back and listen to this. This is a piano with some sort of burbly little filtered synth. Bow, bow. It's some sort of burbly little filtered synth. The filter is probably mapped to the velocity of the key. I used to program synths. I wasn't always this hip dude. I was nerdy. Okay, so that right there is a great example of an ostinato. Look at how little he gets out of it. He does. As a matter of fact, if I go back, when I transcribed it, I think the piano only accented the downbeat. Let's go back and listen again. I'll play what I wrote. I think the synth bass or the synth is going. Yeah, the piano is actually only accenting. Listen. Here's mine. So you can see how simple that is. The main riff is, I'll double on the piano. So look, this riff is C, C, A, C, C, G, E flat, B flat. So it's just fifths. Right. So this is also very Goldsmith. He was very Stravinsky influenced, which are these little short bite-sized packets of motives that he can just move all over the place. And so he'll move it, So he would just move stuff around. Animal Drum, my favorite ostinato is John Williams' Battle of the Heroes. Phenomenal, absolutely. It sadly doesn't carry on. It's only a short motive. Do you mean, Animal Drop, do you mean this Goldsmith motive, or do you mean Williams' hero motive? I want to take a look at this and take a snapshot if you want. And by the way, Matt, 58785878, Goldsmith. I transcribed that a couple of weeks ago. I just needed to get a figure, right? It's so good. 5/8 motive, so awesome. Anyways, there's a lot of, again, why you transcribe? Because there's a lot of subtle stuff. When you go and listen to that, you hear the harp, there's harp plucking and just accenting moments. A lot of what makes an ostinato very good is you accenting, you build the basic ostinato and then you accent certain parts. What makes this ostinato cool is that the piano is going bum, 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 bum. This is the part that's really cool. I mean, the whole thing is cool, but like that's when you have. This is why I joke about these Zimmer ostinatos. When everything is doing that, when you're not using the orchestra to accent and highlight and bring out sub rhythms, right? Because there's a sub rhythm in this. There's a. That's but the sub rhythm is. Almost a Mission Impossible, right? What is it? When you work on an ostinato and you start bringing out sub rhythms through accents, bump, 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 then the ostinato takes on a life of its own. It has multiple dimensions. It has one dimension of a running thread, and then it's got this other one. That's bringing out the sub rhythm. It's bringing out a larger rhythm that plays against it. What I'm doing here could be a French house bass line with the variation you played. Oh, Anima Drop. This is awesome. You're totally now outside my area of expertise because you're talking about electronic music and programming, which is great. It's awesome. I don't know. So, but French house. I'm gonna have to listen to that when I get out of here. The French house bass line with the variation that I played. I'll have to check that out. And by the way, here's a great example of what I think is the best marriage and what I think Goldsmith did very, very well. I think Hans does it very well, although I think he's moving more and more to sound design, which is the integration of synth with the orchestra, where the synth is its own strength and its own color. It's not trying to replace the orchestra. Like that, I love that. I love that sound of the synth that he chose, the bum, 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 bum. It's got this kind of nervous, unsettled quality. No instrument in the orchestra could do that. And that's why it's such a good choice for that film score. Because you're like, awesome. That's why you pick the synths. You pick the synths when it can do and make a sound that nothing else can make. But I love when you then use the same principles of the orchestra or of composition with it. I think that's the best blend of all worlds, which is why I love progressive rock so much, because they were really trying to take synths and use Moogs and use ARP 2600s and, make them actually be their own individual character. So look, there's an example of the Goldsmith First Blood motif. Oh, Xavier's. What's going on? Yeah, we're just wrapping. But we're wrapping up. I got to go downtown and meet some friends for happy hour. So look, we got through a lot of the ones that I wanted to get through, which was good. And it's kind of more of an overview, I guess. But I'll put this back on. What I wanted to talk about was did I do all of them? Yeah, I did them all. What I wanted to talk about was the difference between an ostinato and a pedal point. Oh, I'll do it next time. You know what? I'm going to probably do a post-mortem on my film that I'm working on, Blood Brothers, and I'll show you I'll give you a hint. I'll show you how I'm using the ostinato in mine right now. Give me a sec. Blood Brothers, outlines, sketches. Here's one. Xavier's, it's all going to be saved. It's all going to be saved, unless one of the cues that I played is not. So here's one here's how I'm using the ground motive. I'm taking a series of chord progressions and blowing them out horizontally. So this is a series of 3 chords that I'm using. And then just with some rhythm. That's cool. But then I break them out horizontally. You get this. That's an idea that I don't think I'm going to use. But here it is a little faster. And it actually works out really well. So that's my little, and then Matt, you can see 5/8, 7/8, 5/8, 9/8. Because that's why I transcribed the First Blood thing. Yeah, I think it works. I'm trying to avoid any sort of tonality, so I'm using 4th chords as the opening structure, and ignore all the sharps and flats. I don't care, because this is just sketches. I'm playing it in. You know what I mean? Like if I were to blow this out and give it to an actual orchestra, yes, I would do all the accidentals and all that stuff. But this is just. So I think that kind of works. That's going to be, I'm trying to find a place for it to be used in terms of, I know it's going to come in really useful at some point in the movie, but I haven't gotten to those cues yet. So, but yeah, it's cool. Oh, thanks, man. It's short, but that's because I'm a big Goldsmith fan, and I love what Goldsmith's ideas are like 2 to 4 bars in that world, and then he'll move them up and down. He'll modulate them up a third. He'll reverse them. He'll do some hits over them. We'll see. But I like that. So that's an example of how I'm using my motif, my ostinato. My ostinato, I like to build an ostinato by chaining 2 or 3 chords together and then breaking them out horizontally. So let's see if I can do this last. We'll finish up with this one. This is how I use ostinatos. Oh, and Patrick was asking. He's like, oh, can we see the keyboard? Give me a sec. I think I can do that, actually. Give me a sec. Can I do this? Can I? Trying to get it to look at the context 5 window. Sorry, give me just a moment. I will delete this and re-add it. I need to get a window. Sorry about this. I'm just. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to grab the contact piano. Oh, well, let me do that. That's interesting. Sorry, man. It's just not letting me do it. I have to go. I have to reprogram it. Whatever. So what I'll do is I'll do a series of chord progressions. And then I'll just write them out, and then I'll break them out horizontally. Something like that. And it's a really simple way to create an ostinato. And you're like, well, that sounds really fruity and kind of like movie of the week. Yeah, well, what if I did what I did there? I think I did like stacked 4th chords. So it was like, so then I was like, you see how that all of a sudden you start to do that and you start to get that Goldsmith sound. So that's kind of how I like to think about it. All right. Oh, it's 4:50. Look, this was actually a good place to stop. it was a little bit more of like an overview, but what's the takeaway? If you want to use an ostinato if you want to use a pedal point, the first thing I would say to make your pedal points more interesting, here we go, here's your takeaway. Don't use just one note, okay? Use more than one note. Use an interval. Right, that's still too light, there we go. Use, 2 notes as an interval, right there, A and F. Use a chord as an interval, or as that pedal point, right? Just hold it. It's the Hans Zimmer progression, which is really cool. I love that progression. He starts using it all the time. It's so good. Just moving minor triad down a half step to a major triad. Use it low, middle, and high, right? Right? You can start using that. Add rhythm to it. Establish it first, and then play chords either in the key of your ostinato, or of your pedal point, or outside the key. Use your head. Just play. I like just playing around with triads and things like that. Isn't that the James Newton Howard? Oh, isn't it? James Newton Howard does it too, I think. Sure. Yeah, I think Lossie does too. Yeah, I think you're right. You probably are right. You know more about this stuff. Oh, yeah, well, Hans is, yeah, the 6 to 4 to 1 to 5. Yeah, the trailer one. Yeah. I think a lot of composers are using that now. I'm pretty sure Alexander Desplat is using it in either Benjamin Button or A Theory of Everything. Just a tool, just a relationship. So, for pedal points, try that when you do the pedal point. Try building an open triad. Right? Look, E, B, G sharp, open triad. And then try playing chords over it. Staying in the key is a little bit more smooth and easy. Staying outside the key is a little bit wilder. For an ostinato, you can use stuff in the scale like Goldsmith. That's in the key of C minor. It's actually C Phrygian. You can do what I did, which is create some shapes and patterns that just have interesting things. Again, I got this idea from a lot of Final Fantasy stuff. Right? This is classic video game boss music stuff. Right? Right? That's that's the kind of stuff, right? If you establish the ostinato, even if it's completely atonal, but if you establish it as a repeated pattern, we as human beings like patterns. That was not a crazy pattern. The first time you heard it, you're like, that's a little weird. 4 times in, you're like, I get it. It's a right? Once you establish the ostinato, it fades into the background. It becomes just a bed. Play things over it. If the ostinato is full of fast motions, have the stuff on top be slow and long and grandiose. Play with some chords. Pick the colors to fit the speed of the ostinato. Don't do that with trombones. Pop, 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 piano, maybe pluck strings, synthesizers, double stroke strings, right? If you want a color that can't fit that fast, pop, 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 pop. If it can't fit that fast, have an accent. Right? Don't be afraid to have those accents be full chords. They don't have to be just. It could be. Right? Just those, they're so quick, those stabs are so quick that they can just be a momentary color. That would be my advice about playing with ostinatos. And have fun with it. I like to get gritty with my ostinatos. I know there are people that you can do ostinatos that are like, what is, that's a G major 7th chord. I just broke it up. Very pretty. As a matter of fact, there's a library cue right there. Notice long notes down low in the left hand because the right hand's kind of busy. By the way, that's mine. I now copyrighted that. I'm going to make a library cue out of that. Let me look at the things, and let me take the last 5 minutes of questions, and then we'll call it. We'll call it a Little Farkle Friday. All right, I'm going back. I'm just looking at the chat window now. I use that too. It sounds good. The 1-7 thing. I avoid these chord progressions because it's damn German Schlager. The 6-4-1-5. 6-4-1-5. This is the tale of Captain Jack Sparrow. So great. That's part of the reason I love that so much. It was so smart. They're like, you got to use the Pirates of the Caribbean chord change. I'm getting Tarkus vibes from these ostinatos. Bram von Ruth. Yeah, I think so. I think that the ears of Emerson, Lake and Palmer were very, very open. They listened to a lot of 20th century music, a lot of Bartok, a lot of Russian composers. And the 20th century Russian composers could be absolutely beautiful. If you haven't listened to Rachmaninoff's Bogorodice Dievo, which is I think it's an Ave Maria in Russian. We're doing it at our Christmas concert. It's been on my brain all week. It's phenomenal. It's beautiful. But they also are not afraid to be gritty. Just like really like, it's kind of like, I mean, again, the whole Stravinsky Rite of Spring. It's just like, it's not even a chord. It's not even, it's just a massive sound. It's this wall of sound. So let me go back and look at this. So I think because Emerson, Lake and Palmer had that kind of open ear, they could just, and also jazz helps. Jazz gets so dissonant so quickly. I mean, you can do chords like this in jazz. Right, there you go. There's my, and it totally works, right? That's 3 keys right there. It's G, F sharp, and F. And it totally works. All in minor. So when you've got that in your system, doing things like that isn't a big deal. Because if you repeat it and establish it as a constant and an idea, a stubborn idea, ostinato, stubborn, it works its way. We're very blessed that our 21st century listeners have great ears. They can just jump in like that. If you get into an 18th century, they'd be like, what's going on? This is the music of the devil. 20th century people are like, oh, it's Star Trek 3. I get it. Cool. Watch this. Oh boy, I'm seeing a watch. Composer or 1645. Oh yeah. 1645 is the doo-wop. Oh, I bet you I know what Matt's posting. Matt is posting that great 10-minute thing where they play 30 pop songs and it's all the same 4 chord progressions, which is fine. And, you need to have access to that vocabulary, but you need to be able to move beyond it. Like with my ostinatos, I don't want my ostinatos to be like, unless I choose to, because I'm not busting on that. A lot of trailer stuff has that because it's very familiar. It's got a certain emotional content that works, right? So that's just my thoughts on it. I've had a lovely time, but I'm definitely a little bit like rambly today with this. Ostinatos are something you kind of have to play with. You kind of have to like take a couple of lessons. Let me put this thing up one last time for everyone to take a screenshot of, okay? Here you go, guys. Italian word for stubborn. 2 types, pedal point, 1 note or a set of notes that don't change and other musical elements move around it. Obviously, if you're 45 seconds into the cue and you're like, I'm really bored of these 3 notes sitting on E minor, well then move it. Voice lead out of it. Of course, use your taste. Everything goes through your taste and your aesthetic. Come on, we're composers. These are tools. You got to learn when to use the chisel, when to use the hammer, when to use the wrecking ball. Ostinato is more of a linear figure incorporating more than 1 note. Put linear figure that doesn't change and other musical elements move around it. The big thing about pedal points, you can use more than 1 note. You can use intervals, you can use chords. Pedal points can be low, medium, or high. You can add rhythm to it. Ostinatos can be 2 notes, can be parts of a scale or a chord. Can be just shapes and intervals, which is what I just jumped right to. It's just a bunch of half steps playing around with that. This man with opinion really knows to give this gentleman a free beer. Oh, thank you. Well, I want you guys to know something I'm going to do People have been so kind. They're like, oh, we want to throw a little Patreon at you. And I'm like, oh, I'm not ready yet. When I finish this film, I am going, which will be in early September, about 3 or 4 weeks, 3 weeks from now. I'm going to commit to doing a Farkle Friday every other week. So like every other Friday, you know, kind of a bi-monthly thing. And when I do that, I'm going to open up a Patreon. So if you guys want to support, and my Patreon's going to have 3 tiers. It's going to be buy me a coffee, buy me a beer, buy me a scotch. And it's going to be like $1, $3, $5, you know, one of those things. And it's just every time I post a video. I will not stop posting videos. I know that money's tight for everybody. I'm going to do this every other week, whether or not you pay. If you feel the love, I think I could set up Patreon for like a one-shot. So I can be like, if you just feel like at this particular time you want to throw $3, great. If not, I don't care. I just want to do that. So, and mostly because you people have been so nice about like, oh, I want to throw some money at you. And I'm like, thank you. You know, I'm doing this because I love sharing and I love all of us nerding out over music. And especially with all these classic film scores that many of you may not have heard. Like, I mean, that little riff, like many of you have not heard that from First Blood. That's a great little thing in your ear now, you know? It's like sharing. You're all becoming better composers because you're hearing great music by great composers. It's a shame. I really should have done some Ostinatos from Hans Zimmer because a lot of his stuff in the 90s was really good. I'm never going to, there's certain scores of his that I just love. And they tend to be a little bit of his older scores. The Last Samurai has some really good stuff. The score for The Rock is so good. It's so good. His score for Backdraft is so good. He has some pedal points in there. He has some like nice, long, slow, lush chords that kind of move. Anyways, so I don't know. I think we're good. It's 5 o'clock here in the Eastern time. I'm supposed to head over right now to go meet my friends. So on that note, thank you all for coming. I hope this was a fun Farkle Friday. It was a little bit more free-flowing than some of my other ones, but hopefully you got something from it. And go run with these. Play with these ostinatos. Try these colors that I was talking about, especially those pianos. And you can have a lot of fun just writing cues with the pianos. And that's it. Thank you all very much, everybody. Lost, it was great to see you. Sicken, great to see you. Everybody, Matt, great to see you. Patrick, glad you made it. I hope you had fun with this. I hope you learned a couple of things. Please, everyone, I'm going to take one more second and take a snapshot of this, okay? Just a quick little, you know, you all have Macs. There's that snip function on PC, and there's that thing. Take it, run with it, have some fun with it. Use it as tools. Don't use them as rules. Use them as tools, not as rules. There's like a rhyme in there somewhere. All right, gentlemen, have a great weekend.